Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Franklin Board of Education meeting for March 18th, 2026. The meeting has been properly posted. Can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, I am here. Dr. Khan?
Here.
Mrs. Larson?
Here.
Mr. Sprague?
Here.
Mrs. Sapersky?
Here.
Mrs. Yank?
Here.
Mrs. Witkowski?
Here.
We're all present.
Thank you. And can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dr. Bennon is not with us this evening. We're honored to have her at a conference for Qualtrics in Seattle, where she's presenting the information about
Coherence plan metrics.
coherence plan metrics with the data guy, with Mark.
Mark the data guy.
Mark the data guy.
That's his name.
Well, yes, it is. I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion was made by Mrs. Witkowski, seconded by Mrs. Sapersky. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Countrydale Elementary School presentation. Dr. Bear, please.
Sure. Hi, tonight I'm pleased to welcome Jan Nickel and her team and students and parents from Countrydale School. Principal Nickel will be sharing information on a program she piloted last year and grew this year on carving out dedicated time to meet individual student needs as informed by thoughtful data analysis by people such as the data guy. We'll hear echoes of themes that have been shared by other schools at previous presentations, and I was particularly interested to identify similarities and unique aspects to the Countrydale Cougars. Mrs. Nickel?
All right, so we're going to need our students to come up and grab a chair. And then, is it okay if we move some chairs up for staff members that wanted to attend? Here, let's scoot this way. Let's go. Remember, like in the conference room? Yeah. All right. Ms. Clifford, do you want to stay there? Do you want me to?
You guys can. You're welcome.
Feel free to come on up
pictures.
behind and take
Yeah.
pictures. Better to take pictures of their faces.
Oh, you're so far away. All right. I get so excited for them to present. All right, so, oh, wait for our introduction. Okay, we want to talk about our goals for the school year. They are extending from last year based on literacy. We saw that that was one of our largest needs with the school improvement team. So to read our goals to you, goal number 1 is achievement. By spring of 2026, 67% of K4 through 5th grade students' composite score in ELA will be at or above the 60th percentile as measured by Ames Web and MAPS, because our 5th graders take MAP, everybody else takes the Ames Web. And this would be a 5% increase from what we saw in late spring and fall, and we thought that that would be achievable for us. Right now, we're halfway there with our winter data. We also have a growth goal, which is by spring of 2026, 100% of Countrydale students who are identified as English learners and score below the 60th percentile in ELA will make more than 65% growth. The average is 50% growth, but we want to close that gap a little bit more for those kids performing below the 60th percentile, so it's 65% growth. So how are we going to get there? Tier 1 instruction, strong Tier 1 instruction with our new curriculum from last year, SAVIS. We do a lot of work in PD with that. Small group instruction is happening in their literacy block, and we want to make sure that that is strong as well. But we want to focus on that win time, which stands for what I need. So, some things we had to organize in order to make win time effective. First was our scheduling. We took the summer to create teachers' classroom schedules so they would all have the same literacy block. Well, per grade level, those 3 sections would have the same literacy block. They're teaching the same thing at the same time. They have small groups happening at the same time, so they can be fluid, and we can use our special education staff during that time as well, because some students in special education have the same needs as students in regular education. we needed our educational assistants to be a part of this too. You won't see an educational assistant just sitting in a classroom next to a student. You'll see them leading groups for what kids need. Then we had to go to groupings.
Hi, I'm Lauren Tefford. I'm the instructional coach for Countrydale, and we work really hard on grouping students based on needs that they have during our professional learning communities that we can meet weekly on different topics. We use our screener data, like Mrs. Nichols said, from our AIMS and MAP scores, as well as classroom assessments, as well as various diagnostic assessments in order to really drill down to exactly what students need in instruction and what their next steps are so that we can be most effective with our time. Like I said, during those PLC times, we have both our cross-categorical teachers and our general education teachers meeting during the school day in order to make sure that our groups are the most efficient as possible. And like Mrs. Nickel mentioned, part of our scheduling was a big step in allowing that time to happen for everyone to be available during that time.
And then what are we going to use to help the students with their learning and progressing? We have to have systematic, rigorous procedures and resources to use. So some examples are programs like Sound Partners, SIPS, UFly, and then our curriculum that we use at Tier 1 has resources available, which is called SAVIS, and what they have to offer. So we're taking full advantage of all of those things.
The last part, the fourth part listed up here, is our progress monitoring, which is our ongoing assessment that happens weekly based on a specific skill that students are working towards so that we can measure that their growth and their rate of growth is moving at a pace that we would expect with the particular level of instruction that we're using. Also, as mentioned, was NextPath earlier that Mr. Grunsky and Dr. Bennon are attending this week. We use NextPath during our MLSS meetings that happen at the 6 and 12-week mark of instruction through 3 different cycles across the year in order to make adjustments to our instruction into particular groupings as needed based on student needs.
All right, there are a few pictures to show what it may look like from kindergarten, and that is up to 3rd grade there. I know, Dr. Beer, you came in and you saw those groups happening. We use every space in that building. And in the conference room, we had MLSS going on too, talking about the data. All right, there's a few more, 5th grade, 1st grade, 2nd grade. And those would be kids from different classrooms too, with that one teacher based upon their needs. So if you have all these pieces in the right place, all the people, all the resources, then we see growth, right? And we have Huta, Weston and Oliver, and Leilani here to share their stories and experience with Wind Time. Unfortunately, Huta was unable to show up, but a little bit of his story that he wanted to share was that he is in 4th grade. He came the last day of 2nd grade, so we've had him for 3rd grade and most of 4th grade now. And he said he knew 2 words when he came. He's an English learner. Yes and no. Okay. And if you look at his data now from last winter to this winter, that is showing his growth on his standardized testing, which he's very proud of. He said he is bilingual now and he can use any word in 2 languages. So we're very proud of him. And he wanted me to show all of our students that are progress monitored have a data folder. And they do a 1-minute oral fluency read to track their progress. So this is the kids owning their learning and tracking. So then, scores go up and down, good and bad days, but now he's continuing to move up. So he's very proud of his work. Okay, and then we have Weston, who's going to share a little bit of his story.
Last year, I didn't feel like I was a very fluent reader, but then I started reading with Miss Waite, and this year I started doing small groups with Miss I, and now I feel like I'm a very fluent reader.
What about your data?
Look at my data.
All right, and then we have Oliver, who's also a 4th grade student.
Also, when I was in 3rd grade, I did reading with Miss Waite, and I got better and better at that. And then this year, I started doing small groups with Miss I, and we did reading fluency and comprehension. And do you want to know what fluency and comprehension means?
Yeah.
Fluency is reading smoothly and with expression, and comprehension is reading a story and understanding and answering questions about it.
What about your data?
Look at my data.
They know what it means. All right, and then lastly, we have Leilani, who is part of our special education program.
I am working on SIPs. Let me show you. It looks like rock, rock.
So this part that Leilani demonstrated was one of the strategies that is being taught during SIPs. So it really focuses on really just breaking down like those phonemic sounds, and it's been helping a lot with her decoding and fluency skills.
This is what my data looks like. Do you have any questions for us?
All right. No? So there's Leilani's data too. Hers looks a little different because that's still measuring in MAP, what she's been using for a few years now. And it goes up and down, but you can see that upward trend since we've been starting this intervention time as well. That was Miss Kamalian, special education teacher who does win time with Leilani and other students. Okay, and then before Leilani's line, we do have some staff members. I thought we'd give them a couple minutes to share their experience and how they're feeling about win time and the interventions we use. And introduce yourself if you're going to share.
I'm Paige Lewicky, a 5th grade teacher at Countrydale, and I think Mrs. Nickel touched base on this a little bit, but one of the key pieces is that we flexibly group students amongst classrooms. So as I'm working with an intervention group myself, other students in my classroom are meeting with other adults, working on fluency reading, different literacy skills, and even enrichment opportunities as well. So I just think it's been a very successful time of day where all students are getting exactly what they need.
Hi, my name is Michaela Glinsky. I'm an educational assistant. It's been really fun seeing this different transition as from last year to this year. Before it was more we were standing in the back waiting for something to happen or working one-on-one, and now we can walk in and be able to work in these small group moments. It's really special developing these relationships with the different students like Weston and Oliver, and seeing the different wins that they have. I always like to find those little light bulb moments to when we're working together, and you really get to see it during these moments and be able to collaborate with all of these amazing teachers as well.
I'm Judy Haas, 4th grade teacher. These two are my students this year. I think I love the whole big team effort, from the district providing the resource to Jan has knowledge and a plan, to the kids who are willing to learn and grow and are excited about learning and growing, to the classroom teachers working with the EAs, working with the cross-cat teachers, working with the speech teachers and the EL teachers. We're all working together to promote student growth, but couldn't be done without willing students.
Yeah, and it really is, at Countrydale, they are our students. The kids are moving back and forth with different teachers, different rooms, and we're all taking ownership and sharing and communicating and discussing how the kids are growing and what we need to do next. So it's been a really great experience, and we'll continue doing it until we have our goal of 100% above grade at or above grade level. Yeah. Leilani, ready?
Like this. Do you have any questions for everyone?
Does anybody have any questions, comments?
So it is every day also, right? Every day?
Every day.
Every day, every student.
Please.
I want to thank you all for sharing your data and being brave enough to get up and speak in front of us. I'm very impressed with all of you, and have a good baseball practice.
It's great to see how proud you all are of your progress, and we are too. Anybody else? All right.
Guys, come get a
Pictures,
time.
please.
Okay.
Okay, we all stand in front of yourselves. down, fellas.
Yeah, mine is the same.
Yeah, please pick one. Scoot your nerd.
More?
Oh, smush.
Go right over here. Perfect. There you go.
Up here, because Dr. Beer has something for you.
Oh, I have something for you. Thank you for taking the time.
It's not Sunny D, Weston. It's not Sunny D.
Thank you, friends.
I wonder if Miss Kamalian is a Franklin graduate. You could ask her.
All right, as this is happening, we'll move on to community comment. I'll go through the preamble. Participants under this agenda item must be residents of Franklin Public School District or parents, guardians of Franklin Public School District students, must state for the record their full name and address, and must limit their statements to 3 minutes with a maximum of 15 minutes for any and all comment. If the community comment is related to an agenda item, the board may respond to that comment either at the end of the community comment session or during the discussion of that agenda item. The board may not discuss a comment or question that does not relate to an agenda item. And I have one person signed up, Mary Carol Lewich, please.
Hi, Mary Karolevich, 8208 West Coventry Drive. I just have one quick question. I was reading through the updates to the employee handbook, and I was noting the new board policy, if applicable, part, and so many of the changes that in green that were noted and connected to a policy, the policies don't show up online. And so I didn't know whether or not there's another section on the website where I can reach those policies, or if they haven't been published or approved yet, I don't know. But I checked a lot of these, and the numbers don't even exist. So they must be new, it must be a new policy or an updated policy. So I just.
Yeah, so we are talking about this tonight, so I can comment for you. The policies are all the policies have been updated throughout the year, and they will go into effect July 1st. And so they have been approved. We are under the current policies now, but they are not on the website because we can't have two sets of policies on the website.
Okay.
Or on board docs.
Okay.
I'm not, we have approved them.
Correct.
So they are somewhere.
I mean,
And-
they've all been in, I'm sorry, Mickey.
Yeah, no, they've all been approved, and they are in the system where we can see them.
And they were included in board packets when they went up for approval.
Yeah, and they've been in board packets, so they,
And the handbook's for next year, so the policies
Right.
in the why is it a really loud microphone? Policies and handbook will match
Okay.
when they all start together.
Okay.
So policies have all come through, now handbook comes through, connected. Our student handbook, kid and family handbook will be redone with the new policies.
And that'll show up online then, under
After
the
July
board
1.
policies?
We'll use the new handbook for back to school online check-in, for instance. New teachers for next year will use that handbook that we're looking at approving because it'll match the new policies after July 1.
Okay, all right, well, just, I that's kind of what I assumed, I just wanted to verify. And as long as I'm talking about updates, I wish we would update the school staff links, because there are a lot of people that are listed under various schools that no longer teach here or work here, and this is an ongoing thing. So I don't know who does the updating, but, you know, sometimes if I have to find the name of someone, they're either not at the school where they're listed, or they're not working here anymore. So that's just my comment. Thank you.
thank you. Ms. Lancour is shaking her head. Yes. All right, does anybody else care to comment? All right, I'm looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
I would like to pull two items, please.
Oh,
Item number D and E.
okay.
I think we can, should we vote on the remaining ones and then do?
Yes. All right, so motion was made by Mrs. Larson, seconded by Mrs. Yank, Mrs. Witkowski wants two items pulled, D and E, which we will do immediately. So we will vote on the consent agenda minus those items. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, item D, what are your,
Are we gonna make a motion to approve that?
I move that we approve the summer fall 2026 early college credit and start college now request approval.
Second.
And now, as far as discussion, the reason I pulled it is because, and I am for you putting this into the consent agenda. However, I want the information before I show up before I get to the meeting. I see it's here now, but in the future, we need to see the information before we can vote on it. So with that, and I also am looking at this chart and I see there's no identification what these lines are. I'm guessing the first line is request, the second line is approvals, the third line is take, am I correct, successfully completed? Because there are no,
That's what's noted underneath on the bar graph. Requests, approvals taken and successfully completed.
but they're not on the table, okay. And it seems like an awful lot of courses identified for, is it 5 students, am I correct? There's like 5 students that are requesting these.
26 students?
How many?
Is that what you're talking about this list?
Yeah.
26 students.
There's 26. How are the,
At the top?
oh, it's 26, okay. Oh, these are credits to the
If
right.
you're looking at somewhere, yep.
Okay, all right. So with that, we can vote?
does anybody else have any comments or questions? All right,
I think we did get this information before the meeting. It was sent in an email the other day,
it was sent yesterday.
just for clarification.
I don't believe I got the chart. It was after I requested it.
Thank you. Anybody else have any comment or question? All right, we have to, I think we have to make a motion.
Yeah, we made the
I
motion.
moved it and Mrs. Sapersky seconded.
Okay,
No.
thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Student fees.
I move that we approve the student fee schedule as presented.
Second.
All right, motion was made by Dr. Beer, seconded by Mrs. Yank. Further discussion?
Yes, I have 3 items. First item would be that whatever the document is called, does not identify the early childhood fees in the chart. What are we not, can we recognize that?
What early childhood fee?
If you look on the website, we do have an early childhood fee.
There's no, we're not putting in a change for that, so there's no update to it at this time.
Can we at least include it in the chart and say there's no change?
You can add anything you'd like to the motion.
Okay, I would like to at least include that so we're clear that there's no change. And what is the current fee?
Offhand, I don't know, because I was not planning on discussing early childhood till you mentioned it 30 seconds ago.
Okay. And then the other thing is, I believe you have eliminated the change in the middle school family max. So this is a change to this form since the board discussed it last. Are there other changes that you made that I may have missed?
There are not, and all of these were discussed via email back and forth that all of you were included on.
And I guess that email exchange is not at the board table, so that's why I'm bringing it here. So
Correct.
we're all clear.
Yep.
It's not really appropriate to be making those decisions through email.
That's why we BCC everybody, so they cannot respond to the whole group. So yes, the only change is readjusting middle school athletics to a max of 150 and or middle school athletics and activities, and maintaining that at 150.
I guess my point would be, it's not real transparent to the public if we're doing this via email.
They're all able to see the board report and the recommendation on there, which does not include middle school.
But it was on the previous report.
Correct.
Okay, so I
But
would
it
have
is
to know
updated.
that.
The new board
I would
report
have-
today does not have that in it.
So I'd have to know and compare that in order to recognize that. Because as a public member, I wouldn't have seen the email.
What's your next question, please?
The next item is, I do not believe we should be approving future fee increases at this time. It binds future boards to, it's just not the practice of board business to approving items into the future. So I would be opposed to including that. I would make an amendment to exclude the future increases. Somebody wants to second that? I just don't think it's appropriate.
I will second your, what is your motion, please?
To remove any future increases identified in this report.
I will second that motion.
I think we can, we should do that, let a future board do that at the time that it's proposed, which is in this report, board year 29-30. So this is 26. A lot can change. People may not be here. So it's not appropriate.
I'd second your motion.
Can we vote then, or are we ready
Yes.
to vote on the amendment?
Does anybody else have questions, comments? All right, so can we vote on the amended motion, please?
We have to vote whether to include the amendment, right?
Yes.
Right. So there's a motion to amend the motion to strike future fee increases. We have to vote whether we're gonna accept that amendment.
Right, voting for the amendment, yeah. Is that, and then that's what, I think we're saying the same thing, are we?
A yes
Thank
will
you.
remove them from the schedule. We'll remove the increase. A yes will remove the increase.
The future.
Correct.
Future increase.
Yes to your amendment. We're voting on the amendment at this point.
Correct.
Yes, thank you. All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I don't know.
All right, motion carries to approve the amendment. Now we will vote on the original motion. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, we will move on to school board calendar, regular Board of Education meeting Wednesday, April 15th at the ECC at 6. Pre-Board of Education meeting open house Wednesday, April 29th, 2026 at the ECC at 5:30, and the board meeting will follow at 6. And board meeting on May 13th at the ECC at 6. And the FPS Business Partner Breakfast Tuesday, May 19th, 2026 at Ascension Hospital in Franklin. And I believe that's 7:30?
Yes.
Thank you. And FHS Honors Night, Wednesday, May 20th, 2026 at the FHS. And that is at 6:30, I believe. But check your calendars and we'll mention it again in the future. All right, update from the district administrator. Dr. Mo, please.
Thank you, that's me standing in.
And as most of you are aware, last Wednesday, we had 2 events in one day at the new Cirque Community Room. So in the morning, we hosted the South Suburban Chamber of Commerce, about 100 people breakfast, networking event. And in the afternoon or evening, we had key communicators, and we met to hear updates from around the district. The feedback was very good from key communicators about liking the rec space, so we were happy for that. Very grateful to share, and I thought I saw Matt, there he is, very grateful to share this venue with the rec department and seeing what larger events can look like there. So last week was our first chance at that. Beginning this Thursday, so tomorrow and running through the weekend, is Franklin High School's Sabre Theater production of Chicago Teen Edition. The show brings the energy and the glamour of the 1920s to the stage with a talented student cast. The family-friendly production features iconic songs and invites audiences to join by dressing in their best Roaring 20s attire. You can get tickets online. This Friday is a no-school day, professional development day for staff. One thing of note is I think we shared here last time about the Ability Center coming to Pleasant View Elementary. They are coming to do a similar kind of event for staff using the Forest Park gym, so we're pretty excited about that. Spring break happens at the conclusion of next week, Friday, March 27th, and we will welcome students back on Monday, April 6th. In early March, nearly 300 Franklin High School students attended the Youth Trades hands-on hiring event. We had 65 organizations representing careers in trades, manufacturing, and automotive. This event provided valuable opportunities for students to explore career pathways, including youth apprenticeships and future employment. 6 of our top spellers in grades 5 through 8 competed at the regional spelling bee that was held on March 3rd. Forest Park 7th grader Sanvi won the championship, and 6th grader Jameson earned second place among 32 competitors. Both of those students, Sanvi and Jameson, will advance to Madison, the state spelling bee, this Saturday in Madison. So it's pretty exciting. Franklin High School has been sharing lots of accolades through their newsletter or on social media. So a quick summary. At the end of February, we had 3 members of the dive team complete at state. Franklin Muskego gymnastics team recently finished at the WIAA state meet runner-up, posting a season-high score of 143.35. The culinary management team at the high school won the state championship at the Pro Start Invitational with their concept of Chicken Atlas and will advance to nationals in Baltimore this April. The culinary team also delivered an impressive performance, showcasing exceptional skill and teamwork in preparing a 3-course meal under pressure. So that was the task. The Franklin High School cheer team finished as the state champs for co-ed game day and 3rd place for co-ed traditional routine. So congratulations to them. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we will move on to school board liaison reports. Does anybody have liaison reports, please, Mary?
Today, I went to Ben Franklin and watched the student council get recognized by the Optimist Club and get certificates. So that's my school. And then feel like I've spent a lot of time. I'm the liaison for the community ed and rec, and I feel like I've spent a lot of time there at various activities. So went to a volition meeting. I guess not really as a board member, but I was there. So seen Mr. Gomez a lot.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, our school and community engagement reports.
I will say that I was at the resource fair, not as a board member, but with my organization, and it was really good to see how many people came through. I know they weren't all Franklin residents, but just to recognize how the needs of people who are in a caregiving role is amazing. And sometimes I think we talk a lot about, being independent, but interdependence, I think, is something we need to be aware of too. That people need help and we need each other to kind of make a place for all these adults that live with us. And, all around us, there are caregivers everywhere, and sometimes we just don't see them. So this fair was kind of an eye-opening to see how many people are looking for help.
I went to the fair as well, and of course, just start conversations randomly with people, and everyone with whom I spoke were so impressed that Franklin puts this on. So I don't know if other communities do this, but people were just very happy to have all this information in one place. Like Linda said, for caregivers of adults, for education opportunities, the list goes on and on. So it's really a wonderful reflection on Franklin, I think.
I think it worked better in the cafeteria also. It just seemed to be more
Agreed. Yes. I do.
movement.
Worked
easier to-
better in the cafeteria?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's easier to move around.
The flow is better in there, I think.
It was in
It's
the
in that commons.
commons area. It was just very direct.
All right, anybody else? Thank you, Mr. Ekman et al. For that resource fair. And that's your department. All right, we'll move on to reports, presentations and other board business. Employee handbook. Ms. Lancour, please.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
So I know that this particular handbook in comparison to other years was a pretty big undertaking in terms of review, so I appreciate your patience and the time that you took to go through that. So I want to just make a couple of comments before I open it up to questions, just to kind of reiterate the real purpose of it. Obviously, this one just had a bigger undertaking than others in the past because the goal was to align them to the new Neola policies that the board approved effective for July 1st. So as Dr. Moe mentioned, this handbook will not be effective until July 1st. It really was to align the language. A couple of other things I'd like to mention is that the policies were really the focus. There were no changes or alterations made to like employee benefits or pay or positions or things like that. So I just want to make that clear for our staff. When they receive the handbook, I'll be sure to include the crosswalk and things like that so they have a really clear understanding of all the changes that were made and feel comfortable when they do their sign off in this summer for the next year. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about the new handbook, and yeah.
I'm just wondering, in light of Mary's question, would it be possible to sort of batch together somewhere all of the new policies that we have been approved and make them somehow available? Because they have been part of our board agendas, so they are available to the public. You just have to kind of work for them a bit. Or would that be too confusing? What do you guys think?
Available publicly, you're asking?
Yeah. Like if somebody, like a Mary wanted to review.
I could inquire with Richard if they have that. Like, I'm sure it's a common question.
Yeah.
We have them, to your point, accessible, but I'll ask Richard.
Yeah, some kind of draft or pending
Mhm.
status.
I just know it's a very big deal that you cannot have two sets of policies at one time, that he's very firm that only, so I don't know what that means in terms of available.
So maybe the next best thing would be to say, board meetings dated X, Y, and Z were the meetings at which they were approved, and you could at least go to them there.
Is it, I know that we can see them on board docs, is that because we have different access? Okay, I was gonna say you can pick which
The
section.
non-public side of board docs.
Oh, but were they included in our board meeting?
Mhm,
Okay.
yeah, they are, but just, I
But
wasn't
to
sure.
your point, it's very tedious to go through each.
And
I will
they
ask
are
Richard.
clearly labeled on here as effective 7/1/2026, so.
But is it, was it linked though to an area that they still can't get it? I'm not sure, even if that was in the agenda, could they still get to it? I'm not sure.
They're saying yes.
Okay. Because we're all board members, when we click, we wouldn't notice any difference.
If they're posted publicly for the meeting, I think it would just be tedious. I will ask Richard and get back to you. I don't know the answer to that. What people have done in the past in this interim time.
Also, you're still working on the administrative rules, is that correct?
Correct. So there'd be no guidelines yet.
So the guidelines aren't finished. But the policies are all finished.
So does this now, are we also tied to Neola then to update our handbook? They, in fact, are now updating our handbook also?
Yeah, they provide updates every year based on the policies and the way that they change them. And as long as the board adapts the changes that are made to those policies, we'll then incorporate those into the handbook as well. They provide one on a yearly basis.
So is that another service that we're accessing, or?
Yeah, that's a part of the service with the board policies, yep.
Thank you.
It seems, can you help me understand the different approach? Some of the areas of the board handbook seem to have grown in breadth, and some seem to have shrunken and reference specifically policies. The one that stood out to me was the FMLA section. There's really nothing other than talk to Mrs. Lancour and then a reference to the policy. Can you help me understand what the logic was of what is included and what is referenced?
Yeah, I think Neola recommended just referencing the policy, because for the most part, the law it would only be updates to the law that would ultimately update our policy. The other part being is that it was an effort to try and make our employee handbook a little bit shorter and more manageable for our staff members. Traditionally, it's been 150, 200 pages. So the goal was to try and kind of push that down a little bit with reference to applying more strength to our board policies versus the handbook.
So employees can access
Absolutely, yes.
the policies?
Mhm.
Of
Yes,
course.
of course.
Thank you.
I have a couple more. If
Yeah,
nobody
please,
else does.
please.
I was just wondering
floor is
about one place where we did remove something, it seems like is in 3.01 and 4.01. Those have to do with hourly and staff.
Mhm.
And it's the part about they can expect regular evaluation. And that's just gone. Tell me more.
So that was actually moved up to the top section, yeah, so that language did not go away. It was just, one of the efforts that I tried to do is in our current handbook, there's sections for different employee types, and it had a lot of the same repeated information, so in that effort to also condense the handbook, so that it still exists, it was just moved up into the top section.
I was pretty happy to do a one pass of everything, so I didn't go back and
Oh,
check,
yeah.
so thank you.
Yeah, please.
6.01, this is just a nerdy thing that I know because my kid is in dance. This has to do with volunteers, and it says they'll abide by the WIAA rules. Cheer and dance are governed by a different state organized body called the WACPC. That's all I got.
We'll make that change.
Thank you. Does anybody else have questions? All right, how does everybody feel about putting this in the consent agenda for approval next? When we have approval.
That sounds like a good plan.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, thank you. All right, moving on to technology report. Ms. Zelinski, please.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
All right. So you should have in front of you the technology report as well as an updated 5-year plan. I'll just take a few minutes to highlight a few things that we've been working on this year and a couple of things that we'll be looking forward to this summer, and then open it up to questions. As always, some of the big projects that we're working on have been related to cybersecurity over the last few years, especially as it relates to, as we've talked before, some of those phishing attempts, some of those areas where things are getting compromised. So a couple of things that we've been working on related to that is a better different segmentation of our network, which basically what that means is if a bad actor were happen to get into the network, they can only get so far. So segmenting it in different ways to kind of protect it so they don't have access to the whole thing, just a segment of it, if that makes sense. So that's just one example, but continuing to always look for ways to improve and to continue to kind of tighten those things up. In addition to educating our users, we've had a lot, and maybe you have seen those in your district emails as well, a lot of phishing attempts that look like they are from people inside the organization. So our users are getting pretty savvy of sending us things and saying, hey, this doesn't look right. We have the ability now to pull those emails back, so which hopefully prevents people from accidentally clicking on something as soon as we know that those are in existence. A second area that we've been working on is some streamlining of processes. It took us a while, but we're super excited and thanks to our HR and business office as well, to streamline some processes related to creating and deactivating user accounts so that is done in a more timely, manner and create some efficiency for us to not have to be doing some of that manual entry piece. That took a lot. Ms. Lancour's team and business services teams to clean up a little bit of our Skyward and getting that all kind of connected. So that's all connected together from a Skyward standpoint, but also doing the same thing with students. So as soon as they get entered into PowerSchool, their accounts are created. As soon as they exit out, they're automatically shut off. So that's been a great efficiency piece that we worked hard on this year, and it created some teamwork with some other departments to make that happen. And the last thing I'll just point out is AI. If you haven't heard that there's this thing out there called AI. So we've been spending a lot of time. We have a team working together with some of our instructional coaches, myself, our library media specialists, and others throughout kind of building a plan around like what does that look like. This year we spent some time from a professional development lens learning about AI, just in terms of how it works, how do data sets work, kind of the logistics of AI in and of itself, as well as learning about how can we use it professionally to leverage some pieces. We heard some things about small groups tonight and some other pieces. So if there's some ways that we can create some efficiencies for teachers to leverage AI to be able to differentiate some of those materials, those instructional pieces more effectively and efficiently to save them time so they can focus more time on working with kids, looking to leverage it and professionally in some of those ways, as well as learning to work about what role does it play with students. And so we are excited. This Friday, we're going to be doing a showcase at our Professional Development Day. We've had a team of about 30 teachers who have been piloting using AI with students very intentionally, and they're going to share their experiences with, these are all 6th through 12th grade teachers. They will be sharing with the rest of the 6th through 12th grade teachers their experience and some of the things that they've done. Some of those examples include things like creating like a professional chatbot in science. So they give it a characteristic. So these are your characteristics, and students were able to then ask the professional questions as if they were a medical professional or something else based on their science curriculum. In middle school, they were diagnosing like diseases based on the questions, based on their some specific science examples. So that's just one area. There's lots of opportunities to create different visuals and pieces related to workflows and such, some feedback mechanisms and some of that. So we're super excited to share that out and trying to be very intentional. We want to make sure that there isn't any cognitive offload, that students are still thinking for themselves, and that the writing is still their own and all those pieces, but definitely an opportunity as well to leverage some of those tools that are out there that we can use for education. So we will continue that work this year. There's been most of our groups have had some level of basic training around AI, but the 6-12 group is where we've been spending most of our focus for this current school year. And the last thing I'll just point out is the technology plan piece. The plan really hasn't changed because you approved it last year. What did change is the last column of the capital improvement plan. So taking off this current 25-26 fiscal year and adding on a 2030-2031 projected year in terms of upcoming projects as it relates to capital purchases of hardware and replacement cycle. Any questions?
Mary, please.
I've gotten a couple of like emails and I think maybe even a text that purports to be from Mike and it's not. Do I need to let you know that?
Yeah, generally not. I would just suggest you mark it as phishing, and then assuming you haven't clicked on anything. So if you click on a link and put in your credentials, that's a different, then yeah, we would want to know about that. But
there's no links. It's just like, hey, I need to talk to you. And then it just, so I don't know, is that phishing?
That is phishing.
Oh.
Yep. Yeah.
Can you just give me, how many staff pull this all together? How many staff do you have that work with you?
Say that again.
How many staff work with you to make this all happen?
On my team,
Yep.
so I have 4 technical support teams. I have 1 instructional coach, technology coach, a full-time district library media specialist, and then we have aides in the library who also do some support related to some of the technology pieces as well.
But 4 tech guys in the back room?
Yes.
Getting the servers running?
Yes, 4 of those kind of people, yes.
That's amazing. I have a question on the plan.
Please.
So I see we have some identified as Fund 46, some items not. What happens to the items not? There's some fairly large amounts. $250,000 for wireless. Where does that money come from?
Yeah, that is corrected. The wireless will come out of Fund 46. And
Yep,
Yep.
so our capital items will move to Fund 46, just like we do with capital improvements, just like we've done moved with the textbooks or textbook adoptions. So we purchased them so we don't have to worry about the June 30th cutoff. So we transfer those dollars into the year, at the beginning of the year. Purchases are made out of there, so we don't have to worry, again, about a fiscal year potential issue of items arriving before we need them, or after the deadline, and now we have to push it into a new fiscal year.
So, but the chart shows some already tagged as Fund 46?
Yep.
So they got their,
I will need to update that. Those are missing some tags. So wireless will be Fund 46, the staff devices will be Fund 46.
okay, so there's not all correct.
I'll make a note of that to make those changes before our approval for next week.
And then
our
the other
next
items,
meeting.
smaller items at some other source?
Yep,
Yeah, my
Fund
bar-
10. So Luann's budget, she splits roughly $1.5 million in any given year. I'd say the vast majority of that, approximately like $1 million, is moved into Fund 46. That's just the larger pieces that we buy in bulk, wireless, big sets of computers. And then she has an operating budget, which does pay for some systems, pays for like repair items. So the smaller things that we're using to repair Chromebooks or teachers' computers, or the myriad of items that are stored in the back and the amount of power cords and things we go through, like all come out of the general operating of Fund 10. But big capital type purchases come out of 46.
And it's, it's not an even funding year. How do you handle the up and downs? They can be pretty significant.
Yep, so right now it's working with Luann when we have those blips on the radar. So as we start approaching some of those years, one is, like, is it absolutely necessary this year? Can we get another year out of it? Sometimes the answer is gonna be, yep, we can maybe get another year out of it. Sometimes it's, nope, we have to do that. So the fact that she puts it in a 5-year plan allows us to start thinking about it now so that we can account for some of those. We do have a Fund 46 fund balance, so it's possible that that solves a particular year. Lucky with Luann is most of her items, while there's a cycle, they do not show up every year. So we have some time to build some capital over the course of the year. Even last year, Luann underspent in Fund 46, so she was able to buy some things less than what was budgeted for. So we're also continuing to hold those dollars in Fund 46 as a technology savings account, so to speak, so that she has funds available or in upcoming years should those blips, should we not be able to solve those blips through some other method.
But these are segregated funds in 46, is that correct?
Yep, yeah, we use a location to determine the funds.
I'm not sure what that means, but.
So it's one of the components of a woofer code. So 807 is Luann's technology. So anything listed at 807 tells us it's technology regardless of the fund. So very easy to transfer dollars in under 807. So we know which are Luann's, and to expend out of 807, so we know which are her expenses. And then the net just gets carried over, or we carry the net internally. For us, it sits in a Fund 46 general fund balance, but we carry that.
Is it important past the next year to know what's gonna be in Fund 46, for us, for the board to know what's gonna be in Fund 46 and Fund 10?
I think the major thing for you to know is what are the things that are upcoming. The bucket is the bucket. So to know what things are upcoming, is our technology infrastructure gonna be strong? I think as we move towards all of the digital platforms, one, that our textbooks, two, testing is all done digitally. Do we have all the support needed to do that so that we're not running into hiccups on a daily basis for students and staff? I think that, to me, that would be the biggest thing. And then the 5-year plan outlines, like, when do we have replacement cycles? Because we know computers don't last forever. We know Chromebooks don't last forever. So when do we have those on the cycle? And seeing that change update yearly, kind of like Andy Daniels does with the CIP, like what items are coming off, what's moving on, so that we're aware that someone's taking care of it and making sure that those things are ready to go, I think is probably the biggest thing of the 5-year plan. Not the dollars.
Right.
The dollars are important, but not necessarily the bucket that they're spent out of, because that fund is just transferred from Fund 10 to 46 anyways.
What I'm suggesting is perhaps we take the Fund 46 notation off of that, so that for the thing that we're approving.
Sure.
So that, because we may be tied to that.
Fair.
Well, I think we do want, they are segregated in Fund 46, so there's control on those funds, so she retains that. If you don't have that on there, then there's no basis for segregating it. That's how we segregate it, by putting the tag on there. So I think it is important to put the tag on, because that Fund 46 has a lot of other stuff in there.
That's gonna happen either way, whether the board approves it with a Fund 46 tag in there, because that's how we are operating it, so that we make sure that Luann has her dollars, that we're not. She can be a great steward of dollars, but we know that technology has large blips simply because things do change. They become more expensive, or they become less expensive, or all of a sudden you need new wireless because the world changed what wireless looks like, right? I have no idea what that's gonna look like in 5 years, but the world could entirely change that, and we have to come up and figure out how to do that. So we do segregate that to make sure that we do have those funds available for Luann.
I think as long as it's not putting you in a position of having a lack of flexibility, I would agree that we should just keep the tag there for our information.
No, either way, it's like, doesn't matter to me.
If it doesn't matter, more information is probably better than less.
So you said that you do, move this into Fund 46. Luann has her money. What if she needs more? How do you go outside that tag and get more money then?
Yep, so the question is, why do we need more, first of all? And then we have to determine, like, do we need more now? Because there are some times where, like, if a server goes down today, gets fried for whatever reason, like, we need to figure out a server. So one, we take a look at Luann's budget, like today is March 18th, how much have you expended year to date? Do you need all of those funds? So we might be able to say, nope, we're gonna procure some of the funds that you have and we're just gonna budget them, or take what they were budgeted for and we're gonna move it over to new pot A. Most likely, if we're talking a server, those are expensive, like we're probably diving into Fund 46, very similar to we would be if a rooftop unit on this building went right now. Andy Daniels needs a rooftop unit because it has to have one to operate. We're probably going to Fund 46, and that's part of why we build that over a period of time, is so we have those emergency funds if we do need them. Ideally, we have enough backups on a server so it shouldn't fry, but again, anything technology, again, air top or air rooftop unit, server, like that can go at any moment for any given reason, anything that happens. So we do have those funds built up in Fund 46, so you see those fund balances when we do larger budget presentations. And we carry that for that particular reason, because those things do happen.
Thank you. I have a question.
Please, Monsieur.
With the phishing emails, of course, like the board members and the principal emails can be seen on the website itself. How is there a way that we protect the students' email addresses so that they don't get phishing emails? Because even I get fooled sometimes, I have emails, I think it's a genuine email and I click on that, but it happens to be like, a phishing email, and the kids are more innocent to that. So is there a way we protect their email addresses from the public and officials?
Yeah, good question. I would say generally speaking, we don't see as much of it in the student email because it's not publicly out there and students aren't emailing outside of the system very often. So their email addresses just in general aren't as publicly available, if that makes sense. Middle and elementary school, we currently have closed so that they can't email inside or outside of the district except for approved domains that allow that incoming and externally happening. We do a little bit of education with our high school kiddos as well when those things, and they do report things if they do see things. So, but when we see these phishing emails that we see coming into the adults, and we're like pulling back, as I mentioned, those emails, we're not seeing it coming into the students' side of it in the same volume, if you will, as we see with staff. So I would say at this point it's been pretty minimal, but definitely something we continue to monitor and watch and continue to educate.
Thank you. No, I think I just wanted to understand, do we have a policy and a framework to protect the kids, because kids are more naive and, if I can be fooled.
You can be fooled, anybody. Yeah.
Kids don't check email that often anyway, so.
Certainly don't.
All right, further questions? Please, Mary.
So with the referendum, are we envisioning like more need for cabling and fiber and backup and everything? And is that included in the referendum funds?
Yeah, so that would become part of the referendum funds, and I've been working closely with the construction and architectural team. So we are defining what that looks like and where that'll fit in as that relates to that. So even as we look at replacing Wi-Fi this summer, making sure that that's going to be sustainable until the project is done, so that we can have consistency with the new space as well as the existing spaces.
Please, Linda.
So then also, I just was seeing all these devices that we have. Is that the cost, the unit cost going down, going up? What do you see for the future for
Yes.
what kind of devices we're going to be carrying around?
Well, actually, that's an interesting question because Chromebook prices went up 20% in the last 9 months, and it has to do with shortage of processor speeds as it relates to all the AI systems being built up. All the AI companies have bought up all of the hardware, the components, causing shortage. And so, unfortunately, we're seeing it go up, and it probably will for the next 2 or 3 years.
We're sticking with that device then? No change?
What's that?
We're sticking with that device, there's no other?
It doesn't matter which device because it's the internal components that everybody needs. Everybody needs a processor. Everybody needs memory. And so those are the components that we're seeing an increase in costs on.
Anyone else? All right, thank you very much. We'll move on to Adaptive Sports League. Ms. Bombian and Mr. Ekman, please.
Jess, we have a few slides.
Share them with me?
Yeah, I can share them.
Sure, I'll queue them up from here.
Good evening. Good to see everybody. I'm going to share something with Jess, and then we'll get started. Okay, that should be coming your way.
Yep.
So we're excited to be here to talk about an opportunity for Franklin Public Schools to join an adaptive sports league. We think it's a good idea, and we're hoping that you'll be receptive. What we'll do here is I'll talk about a little bit of the why behind the idea and the opportunity, and then I'll ask Janine to share a little bit of the details in terms of what it would look like and what has to happen in order to join and to pull it off and for it to be successful for our students. So, joining the Adaptive Sports League is an opportunity for the next school year, for the 26-27 school year. And what the Adaptive Sports League is it's a competitive sports league for youth with disabilities who otherwise would not be able to participate in a competitive sport because of their disability or a safety-related need. So the league has gotten started in southeastern Wisconsin. There's a couple other areas in the state where this type of league has taken off. It's new to our part of the state. So there are a few early adopters. We're one of the districts that's an early adopter. And when we think about the district's mission to be part of a better community, I just wanted to talk a little bit about what I think that means in the context of this opportunity. Being part of a better place to live and part of a better community means that we are providing opportunities for students with disabilities to be included. And what we've heard from our families and our students is that means inclusion not just in the academic program, but in all aspects of the school community and experience. And as you know, we've been engaging with families and talking with families and listening and collecting their feedback. And it's been consistent that this is something that our youth want. And we're excited about it because this is new, and this is a new way for us to offer experiences for our population of learners with disabilities. We also know that that's a big part of the high school experience. Not just going to school and attending class, but being part of a club, being part of a team, and having an activity after school. I know that many of us with high school age youth, that's a big part of life, and that's a big part of their social life and what they're excited about for school. And our kids with disabilities are looking for the same experience. So this really provides an opportunity for our students with disabilities to compete in a competitive experience. I'll let Janine explain some details, so I won't steal her presentation. It also offers them the opportunity to travel to other schools in the region and to represent their school and their community. So that's why when we think about our mission to be part of a better community, part of a better place to live, we think we should do this, and we're hoping you'll be supportive. So I'll let Janine, she's done some work on the background, and I guess Jess, you'll drive.
Sure. So, like Leo said, our goal would be to roll out our fall season with fall sports starting next school year. So there's a fall, winter, and spring component. So indoor soccer for fall, bowling for winter, and then indoor baseball for spring. And so how the current school districts have kind of structured and has been positively received by their participants and families would be the first 3 weeks of the season would be practices. So it's a 6-week total season-ish. There's only 2 current districts right now utilizing it, so they're can only compete so many times at the same school, right? So with that, they said 6-ish weeks. The first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, sorry, would be practice. So working on that skill development, the concept of the rules of that sport specifically. Each season has an adaptive sports rule book. So the modifications are already identified for the accessibility for the participants. So it wouldn't be indoor soccer doesn't have the same expectations as outdoor soccer for boys and girls. So there's an adaptive rule book. So practicing what that looks like. Then the last 2 weeks currently would be a once a week competition. So a home game and an away game is currently what's happening. And so what that would look like if we were that third school within that, maybe it's the last 3 weeks of the school or of the season, one competition a week. Then the participants have participation opportunity just like any other student. You can participate in all 3 seasons or you can participate in one. So again, we would run it through the athletic department. They would register like any other athlete. It's a varsity letter sport. So I think I just had the high school basketball banquet last night with my son, like the banquet, the recognition, getting fans in the stands to support their school team, that whole atmosphere of that. We would replicate for this league as well. So it wouldn't look any different than what currently goes on in all of our other sports. So I get goosebumps thinking about it because I'm just so excited, so excited I want to start it tomorrow. What important pieces would be a coach. We need hire coaches. And so what does that look like? Same process as what a coach hiring looks like for any other sport, right? So running through athletics, partnering with Cordell and his department, and supporting that. We've reached out to current staff that support students currently with disabilities to see if there's any interest. And so we're looking forward to hearing back from them. But a big component also of this league would be volunteers. So family volunteers or even staff or high school student volunteers, more hands the better. Provides that cheering section if not a ton of attendees come to watch and cheer on their team. So we would follow any guidelines as far as volunteering would need to be for the classroom. They would get their background check, all of those things. So another piece would be figuring out location, facilities We'll figure that out. We didn't want that to be the barrier of not offering this opportunity. We can get creative with that. I think this also just stands out to have that extension of what is out in the community for students with disabilities kind of comes to a halt during the school year. And so yes, there's Special Olympics and such, but nothing that really ties you to your school. And I think too, we talk about at the sporting meetings with Cordell, he talks about the more engagement you are in extracurriculars, more engaged you are in the school setting. And so to follow suit with Better Place to Learn. Like students are going to be more engaged with their peers in that inclusive setting in the classroom as they see themselves as a participant in athletics as well. So we have about 8 families that are interested in learning more. So we kind of just polled our families. And so by word of mouth, families have filled out the survey and are excited and are willing to volunteer as well. So there's definitely an audience and a group of participants that are waiting to figure out when to sign up and how they, what size jersey they need for that experience. But we're really excited to have this opportunity and looking forward to seeing what it brings to our students and our community.
So I just want to add a few details to what Janine shared from the board report. We did put a cost estimate on the report. That's an estimate at this point, but we figured that would be something that the board would want to get a sense for what the cost would be. We don't see it as cost prohibitive. We did work with Cordell, so he's aware and he's on board and supportive of this effort. So that's the groundwork that's been laid with athletics. And Janine mentioned, yeah, we do have some kids that are interested, so we think we can have a team.
Thank you. Questions, anybody? Ann, please.
That was actually one of my first questions, is how many would you have a team? Like, is there a limit? Or can you-
Hamilton was able to do it with 6 kids.
Okay.
So we think we can add to the number of kids we've got, but we think we can do it.
And then it's a high school sport, will that include the kids in the 18 to 21 program, or is there only?
Yes,
Okay,
it includes
so-
18 to 21, and it is for a varsity letter. Forgot to mention that. It might be in the report, but
Yeah, I know that
it
was.
is.
And then in terms of volunteers, would that be, like, I know, I have experience with the Little League, with their Challenger League, where they have like a one-to-one peer aid. Is that the type of volunteer you think you would be looking at with this, or too soon to tell, or?
I think it's too soon to tell. I think that's an option. It does really depend on the students that are participating and what that need presents itself for. Like a support for bowling might look very different than for soccer. And so I think we're open to just being able to have students participate and feel successful and engaged. So potentially.
I just wonder, would your volunteers have to have knowledge of the sport or not? I'm just thinking ahead to,
Yeah.
could you partner with Best Buddies, or would you be partnering with the, the other, like the soccer students or the bowling students? Like, how would you find those volunteers? So.
Yeah, I think all of those, when I think about what is in season, we might not be able to have access to, right, boys soccer for that. But I don't think that the knowledge of the sport will limit who can volunteer. I think it's really just the want to be able to volunteer, and the coach and staff would be able to help provide the guidance on what that looks like. And the students too, having that voice of advocacy as well.
No, I think it's a great program. Thanks for putting it together.
Linda, please.
I think it was 6,000. Was that the number you put in here? I can't find it back.
It's on the,
It's on the back.
back of the page, or if you scroll down, if it's electronic, I think
Oh,
it's
maybe.
close to
I'm
the
in the
bottom there. Yep,
presentation.
6,000 is what we estimated.
So is that transportation? What, I'm just curious. what-
Referees.
Yeah, so,
transportation. They have refs, referees and umpires.
yeah, we need a referee. We tried to itemize a few of the costs. There would be a athletic fee. That's, I think, half of what the fee is. It's roughly half of the season. The coaching contract, so we would need 3 coaching contracts. Transportation. The facility space would also include bowling alley rentals. That might be the highest cost item on that list. Janine mentioned facilities. By and large, we're hoping to use our facilities. So there wouldn't be a cost there. But uniforms and any other sports equipment purchases. Transportation, we didn't think is a high-cost item, but that is potentially a cost. We could probably use vans. Other districts are using vans and having approved adults drive the vans for transportation.
I think about too, like for basketball, each player has a bag, and they have, so that's an initial cost to upfront, and then we return the bag at the end of the season. So if we're looking at baseball, like, are we buying equipment for the students to carry back and forth? Maybe not, but do we have anything that they would need for the entire season that they would like check out to themselves too, is included in that cost.
And what's the lowest number you would have? I mean, would you partner with other districts to kind of get the numbers you need, or we have other co-ed, co-op type programs, have we?
We are open to that. We think we have enough kids in our community that would want to do it, but that's something we have to feel our way through. And we just don't know until we try it to see what the enrollment will be. But we want to take a chance, and we think people are going to show up.
We reached out, we just did an email blast to incoming ninth graders and then current students, 9, 12, and then in the 18 and beyond. We really haven't pushed it out there, and we emailed more than 8 families, and I've got 8 interested responses. So I feel like once we're confident and have a little bit more of information, families might feel a little bit more confident that their child could participate or want to learn more about it. So I'm excited to be able to open it up and share so that by word of mouth, more families potentially show interest as well.
Just a wild question, but WIAA has never thought about being more inclusive, or?
Yeah.
I think that's a
great
question for
question.
WIAA.
We interact with them some way? We could ask that, or?
We do have some students with IEPs who participate in, for lack of a better word, traditional current WIAA sports. So this is generally meant maybe for some kids who don't fit into that more traditional current model. So kids maybe with more, it's not just any kid with an IEP has to go
Right.
play in this adaptive sports league. We have a ton of kids with IEPs playing in our current sports. So this would be for kids who maybe for whatever reason or need don't feel comfortable participating or don't want to participate in the leagues as that we know them now. If that helps, trying to say that in the most but it's
No,
not
I
like,
know what you mean, 'cause
yeah,
everybody's
every single kid now
seeing
has to
one
go
so
play.
far.
No, we have plenty of kids already included.
Anybody else have any questions? Please, Mary.
Two super quick questions. So are most of these gonna be boy teams and girl teams, or it's all co-ed?
Co-ed.
Co-ed.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then is there anything that's gonna, need to be purchased that's a special adaptive equipment? Is there like a place, a clearinghouse, a website or something? And we would have the funds for that too, I presume?
That would be, yeah, again, we don't know what, depending on students, and that can fluctuate year to year based on student need, but I would think, yes, that estimated cost, that would come from there as well. And I would say we would utilize the current equipment we have in our buildings as well. So if a student is already getting FIAD and playing baseball, right, there could be some wiffle ball, like we can utilize the resources we have too.
The rules are also, my understanding of the rules, I don't know that I could field questions on the rules, but my understanding of them is that they're structured to allow for participation. For baseball, whether it's the ball being pitched or on a tee, for example, it allows those types of adaptations to the game for the purpose of
Eyes of the
participation.
ball, yeah.
So someone with a visual impairment, there might be
Mhm.
modifications.
Yep.
Yeah.
And who is the league? I mean, are there people that?
Three,
Right
Hamilton
now-
and Oak Creek.
Yeah, Hamilton and Oak Creek, there has been some advocacy for more districts to join. So I know there are some other communities that are interested. I don't have any updates on the status of those communities, but I think there are similar conversations happening and possibly other board meetings where this is an agenda topic. So we're hopeful that there will be more communities than the 2. We're hoping to be number 3, and then hope to see it grow in the area.
But there's an entity somewhere. I mean, it's gotta be people.
I'm
doing-
sorry.
There's an entity somewhere that's doing this, or who's?
Like who put together the
Right.
Adaptive Sports League?
Right, and the rules and the.
Right.
So there's the director in Hamilton, John Peterson, was the individual that reached out and offered this opportunity. According to John, it's in some other regions of the state, and I guess in our region, we selected bowling, and some of the other regions have floor hockey as the winter sport. But it is I guess it's a thing that's taking off or growing as I think as part of the, kind of going back to the original why, part of the interest in including people with disabilities is not just academically, but in all aspects of the school experience. Communities are exploring these types of opportunities. So there is a group that's passionate about it. So I think if you do some Googling on adaptive sports, you might see some other Wisconsin areas that have embraced it, and our effort, I guess, is parallel to that.
Thank you. Laksu, please.
I personally think is that to make it a better place to learn for all our learners, from different backgrounds, this is such a good initiative with a minimum cost of $6,000, which is, very, I think, highly rated and highly recommended initiative for all our learners, because we want to give the same platform to all our learners as such.
I agree. I'm an advocate. I suspect it'll be folded into the athletic department budget at some point. Should we pass it? Please, Angie.
Can I, would people be interested in putting this in the consent agenda for next meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Anybody have any further questions? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right, we will move on to 4K wraparound care. Ms. Pound, Mr. Gomez, please.
Hello, everyone. Mr. Gomez and I are excited to bring to you information about a 4K wraparound childcare program that the Recreation Department will be putting together for our Franklin families. It's a partnership between Rec and Teaching and Learning that started towards the end of last school year with just some inquiry upon serving our families. We learned that there was a great need for childcare options for families, whether it be 5 days a week or 1 day a week. Varies per family, but that there is a heavy interest in there. So Matt and his team did a lot of researching around that and into what 4K wraparound programming would look like, how we could dovetail that with our current 4K half-day school program, and what our area districts also offering in terms of that type of programming for our families. You have the board report at your fingertips, and so we would just like to open it up to questions.
I'm just curious where, in the literal and metaphorical sense, the handoff happens from them being, the kids being in our care as a school district versus our care as the rec department.
Sure. Literal handoff. So completing, so I'll go through an example. So in the morning, let's say they have 4K programming at Southwood Glen, and then they would need wraparound in the afternoon. I think that's kind of what you're asking, like what that would look like. So a parent would drop their child off at Southwood Glen. They would have class with Miss Ruffing there, go through their school day, and then at the end of the day, child would get onto the bus to enter and go to Ben Franklin, at which they'll have lunch and play, recess, right, and go on with their day there. And that would look, if the family needed wraparound kids club, I should use the right words, kids club, so then they would start at kids club at Southwood Glen, go to 4K programming with Miss Ruffing, get on a bus, and then go in the afternoon to Ben Franklin to finish out wraparound care. Does that help kind of give it a little bit of context of what that looks like?
So just literally the responsibility, like, for that child, once they exit the bus and are in the more daycare type of a setting, it's the rec department.
Correct.
So
Correct.
really, we as a district aren't going to be doing anything additional with the students other than delivering the bus to a program that's been it being run by the rec. Is that correct? This
Yes,
isn't-
they'll go
yeah.
into recreational programming, which will like mirror the routines of 4K programming in the morning or afternoon, depending upon where they're at. But then they will go on their day in specifically with the recreation department and what that looks like.
Sue, please.
Is the cost per day, is it similar to the industry standards of the daycare, or is it subsidized, or it's?
Yeah, we're right on, over the part of the study, $40 was pretty much the average cost for day, so we got it at 40. So it's $40 a day. Again, if you attend 5 days, then it will be, $40. If you got at least attend 2, so it's about $800 a month if you would attend the 5 days. But yeah, $40 a day.
Question, so if, in going through your scenario, the child's now in the recreation department at Ben Franklin at the end of the day, but that day ends when? When does the parent required to pick them up from this wraparound?
The actual timing, you mean?
Right, because is there also a need for an additional kids club at the end of that?
Sure. I'll let Mr. Gomez talk a little further about that.
Yeah, so it would depend on the need of the family. If they need before school care, which we would define as before 9 o'clock, so that would be kids club. And then if they need wraparound care, then after kids club at 9 o'clock, they would go into the wraparound care program. And then if they're attending that 4 p.m. 4K school-based program, then they would transition into that school-based program. So if the parents need before care, after care, we would still utilize that kids club as that full wraparound care for the families that need the before and after still.
So what helped me is we're only moving kids once. That, like, when I think about, so in this example, you could go to before school care at Southwood Glen, 4K at Southwood Glen. We transport you once in the middle of the day. You go to PM wraparound care at Ben Franklin, and then if you need to stay longer, you would stay for PM Kids Club at Ben Franklin. We're not taking you at the end of wrap care and taking you on a bus again back to Southwood Glen. So that,
Are you in the same space though when that happens at the end of the day? Does kids club have
Sure.
a
Are they
different space?
transitioning to a different space
Oh.
at the end of the day?
Is that?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're different space again.
In the building.
in the building, at Ben
Yep.
Franklin, yeah.
Yeah.
Big. I don't know how many parents would go for that kind of different. So, and there's room for 50, is that correct?
There's room for 100.
100.
That'd be the max. We'll have 2 classes in the AM, 2 classes in the PM, so 25, 25, 25, 25.
And what's our total 4K potential?
For the school side enrollment,
I'd say approximately 200.
For all buildings, we only have 200
It's
4K kids? Wow. How many do we have in first grade?
Offhand, I don't know.
350 years.
Okay.
You have to remember they come from kindergarten.
Right. Okay.
And some kids don't go to 4K.
Right.
Right.
Franklin, so
Correct.
you're-
We
have a big
you're
jump from
missing those
4K to
kids.
5K.
Yep.
Currently, we gain students at 5K.
Mhm.
And partially that is because we don't have options for families to choose from. So this would open up opportunities and doors in that realm.
And so are we changing any other any other transportation? Can parents still utilize other daycare options? After the 4K day, can they be bused to a daycare center?
No, that will be ending.
That will be ending. So there is a change outside of,
Correct.
so kind of puts them in and why are we making that change?
We have asked, well, I can't speak to the longevity of that programming within the district. I'd ask maybe Mr. Cromie to talk about that. But in terms of having opportunities for families, this is right here within our district. So it keeps our families and our students right here in Franklin. And we have to start somewhere, so we're starting at Ben Franklin. Our goal is to grow the programming. So we can't just expand to 5. We don't know what Like, just like Adaptive Sports League and some of our other discussions earlier, we have to start somewhere. So we have chosen to start with having a site at Ben Franklin with the hopes to grow and expand as interest, depending upon interest. And we won't know what that looks like until registration opens up, but we do have a predictor of that.
So we've had this conversation along the way, and most recently, Dr. Moe and I had a conversation with a parent. We have a certain number of buses with Right Way. In order to continue to bus outside of that and add students to our daycares, we'd be looking at adding approximately 4 buses just for that afternoon route. To get a bus on the road for 4 days, or for 4 deliveries for our 176 school days is about $200,000. So we've allocated our busing back to us. Additionally, I will note, having done this in other school districts, we're the only one I know of, and talking to other people, where we actually provide the busing to daycares. Typically, daycares are providing their own service and picking up at schools and dropping off at schools, which by all means, we would absolutely allow. So any of our partners, if they had that, will work to coordinate where that would drop off pickup would be and coordinate that. But again, our resources, we have to allocate those what we have available. And as Amanda said, we think we have the best program in town. And allocating our resources to the best program in town is where I think we should put our dollars.
Can you confirm our legal obligation is to provide transportation to and from home, right?
Correct.
We have no legal obligation to.
Correct.
And I think we currently do have some daycares that provide, I want to, does kinder
true.
care?
Yes.
Some do.
Yes, some do.
That's
So,
true.
yeah.
And some do not.
Sure.
Yeah, Matsu, please.
I think it also enables our working parents to be more enthusiastic and be open about enrolling the kids in the 4K program. It also helps in the longevity of the kids itself from the education perspective, giving them a structured program, because I think no daycare can replicate the programs which a school district, which has experience in dealing with the kids day in, day out, So I think the school district has the best platform to give that education environment for the kids. So I think, in my opinion, it's a very good incentive for the parents, and also an opportunity for the parents to enroll, and it's actually helping them continue their professional careers, jobs, and all this stuff without getting, worried about if the kid is going to be picked up and dropped. And as a parent, you always worry about it. But if they know is that, hey, the kid is there in the hands of the district/rec department, but within the district itself, at least they're peace of mind and deal with a lot of stress and anxiety from the parent as such. Being a parent of a young child, I can tell you that.
Can I add one additional thing? And this really, I guess it was really solidified in that same conversation we had yesterday, that there's going to be a change definitely for parents who are in it right now today, right? There's a change who are using, name the partner, but are using that particular service. But our brand new families coming into 4K, they're never going to know the difference, and this is the path that is offered, or the path that's available to them. And moving forward to the new 4K parents, and at some point, all of those will be the new people, and it's the path that's being offered. So for a parent who's in the thick of it, yep, there's a definite change. And they're gonna have to determine whether they wanna move forward with this change, or if they wanna figure out a transportation to their own particular place. But again, every new person coming in, this is the way it is, right? And this is the plan that's offered, and then they figure out what they wanna do, but they know that this is the offering. So I don't wanna undermine that there's a hiccup. There's no doubt there's a hiccup for some families. But again, ultimately, putting all of us in the room and talking about this multiple times, felt this is the best path forward and plan we can put together.
Kind of change topic a little bit. In the report, it talks about the children in wraparound care will participate in activities designed to mirror the 4K classroom experience. So they're gonna have their 4K classroom, say in the morning, and in the afternoon, they're gonna come to wrap. Who is it a 4K teacher or somebody else who is teaching in the afternoon? And is it still school type things, or is it really just kind of free
Sure.
play?
I'll just speak a little bit. there still be routines. So right within each of our 4K classrooms, there's routines that they go through each day. So, you know, basic alphabet, right? Movement, purposeful play, whether that's sensory pieces, creativity. We will mirror that type of schedule. And then I'll let Mr. Gomez talk a little bit about like what that programming looks like in terms of teacher and resources.
Yeah, so again, through the study, we found out that a lot of these programs, a lot of districts have uncertified teachers or teachers with no college behind them. It's usually staff that has experience in childcare or anything along those lines. But moving forward, again, we want to always have that high quality program standard that we live by. So our postings will be asking our lead teachers in each of those classrooms to at least have an associate's degree in early childhood education or recreation, or a bachelor's degree in education or recreation, or something similar to that area, with hopefully a combination of education and experience in the early childhood setting. That way we can set that bar right away of, you know, keeping that high quality program. So again, our posting, our asking for our candidates are hopefully above the standard industry. So give us a step forward, hopefully.
Linda, please.
So it's just like this is daycare now, so state has rules on this setting, is that correct? That's the rules you gotta follow for daycare, not school?
That's a good question. Because we are a school-sponsored program, we are not required to be licensed or certified. We work under the exemption policy for all of our before and after care programs because we are school-sponsored. But in this business, we usually follow the DCF 251, which is the rules that come close. So when we're talking about staff ratios or equipment-wise, we try to mirror 100% the rules that are in place. But currently, there is no requirement for us to be licensed or certified due to the fact that we're working out of a school district.
School sponsored.
School-sponsored, but we are school employees, so it's all under the umbrella of Franklin Public Schools, so a school district.
So they report to you then? There's no reporting to?
No, they
Correct.
do not report to me. They report to Mr. Gomez.
So yeah, so the program will be 100% under the Community Education and Recreation Department as a recreation program, just like any other program we offer.
So where our partnership is, again, is like informing in terms of like, what does that 4K day look like? And then how can we replicate some of those pieces within wraparound care? That's what teaching and learning's role is in this as we move forward with the program.
I just want to clarify, so before, Kids Club currently operates under that exemption?
Correct.
Thank you.
So it's like an expansion of Kids Club?
In essence, you could say
Essentially,
that.
yes. Mhm. Again, not uncommon, even personally, my kids were in wraparound care. It's pretty standard to have that offering. I'm just excited that we can offer that for our families.
I appreciate you taking the ball and running with this. This has been something that a lot of people ask about, and it's becoming a reality, and it's appreciated. Mary, please.
So I just want to say that even with the last presentation, I think it speaks volumes that we are responding to feedback, we are responding to community need, we are responding to surveys, which, speaks even more to fill out your survey, because we hear it and we act on it, and we're responsive to it. So the Net Promoter Score, I think, is something we talk about too. So these are just two examples of how this district, elicits opinions and needs from families and acts on it. So I just wanted to say thank you for doing that.
Go ahead, Linda.
So then, why now? Why didn't it come in when we put in 4K? Why now?
I wasn't here. I can't answer that.
Neither was I.
I know since the 2 years I've been here, we fielded a lot of phone calls. Every school year, we get phone calls in the beginning. Since I've been here for my second year about if we offered this program, we kind of got together and the time is now, and here it comes. But I can guarantee you, I'm excited. We have put a lot of work into this, and I can guarantee you, when you walk into one of our classrooms, you wouldn't know if you were in a 4K regular classroom or a 4K wraparound program. I put my heart and soul to this. I can guarantee you that we will have the best staff, and like Chromie said, we will be the talk of the town.
Actually, I was thinking about it for the past few years. I didn't say that.
I think it's a
Looking
great
honest,
idea. I think it'll make new parents feel more welcome, and it'll build that community, and it'll just strengthen, I think, the love for the school district that we all have.
I just from a higher policy level though, so why isn't the state paying for it? Why, we essentially are having all-day 4K. So let's call it what it is, all-day 4K, and throw it into the state funding formula. Well, how far away are we from that?
From your lips to God's ears.
The best we get for 4K funding is 0.5 FTE, which we already do get. So whether we have all-day 4K or half-day 4K, that wouldn't change.
It's the same.
I just can't understand the cost numbers and the revenue is so profitable. It just, why is that imbalance there? Can somebody explain that to me? We are taking in almost, 50% more than we need to balance this.
So recreation programming in general, all of recreation in Matt's entire budget requires fees to be paid. So that's for our before and after school care. That's for basketball. That's for
Yoga.
pickleball, all the things that are happening, right? And last year and previous years, a tax levy as well, right? So some of those fees will go to offset some of our tax levy. The alternative is that's additional tax levy coming on to make sure we run Matt's program. So I think last year we talked about how do we determine the tax levy for recreation, right? And we've now provided a formula. So now we have X number of staff, we have some utility offsetting costs. We take a look at the fund balance of last year and trying to maintain a 50% fund balance, put that all into the calculator, and then it kicks out, this is what your tax levy needs to be in order to operate that. So if we pull that funding back that's coming from this, and yes, it's helping to offset some of that cost, the net is a larger tax levy that gets apportioned to everybody in the city of Franklin, well, in our school district boundaries, versus the people that are using that particular service, who are still saving money over going to any of the other options that they have. Right, so,
I'm just,
not ideal, but all of those operations too are funding potentially churches, or they're funding other things, they're for profit, right? So they're funding something else. We're using it to help set off general tax levy in general is really what we're doing. And Matt has a great staff, right? He runs a large budget next year, probably close to $3 million. So he's doing a lot of great things. It takes a lot of people to do that. So some of our programs do generate funds. If they all generated net even, we'd be looking at a pretty large tax levy to do that.
I know this is probably assumed, but 4K is not required by law either. So like, we've become accustomed to communities having 4K because parents largely ask for it, and then school districts, but to your question, I think like, why does it look different? Why? Because it's not, nobody has to run 4K. Everybody does, and it's become so commonplace, but students, to your point, are not required to attend, and school districts are not required to have it. Where I'm from, they used to run it as a charter. So they 4K chartered, or they run it out of just one school, or, so that was something doing this, talking like, oh yeah, that's right, it's 4K, not 5, like you had to remind yourself that it looks different and feels different, because we don't require families to attend. So that helped me when I was like, okay, yes, this feels and looks different than the rest of school.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, board clerk's report. Dr. Beer, please.
Notice is hereby given that an election is to be held in the Franklin Public School District on Tuesday, April 7th, 2026, and the following offices are to be elected to succeed the present incumbents listed below. The term of office for school board members is 3 years, beginning on Monday, April 27th, 2026. 2 school board seats will be filled for a 3-year term beginning on Monday, April 27th, 2026. The ballot position for the election are as follows. Position number 1, Catherine J. Eckhart. Position number 2, Denise Groniger. Position number 3, Mary S. Yank. Signed, Angela Beer, Clerk, Franklin Public School District Board of Education, January 8th, 2026.
Thank you. Questions?
Has one of the candidates dropped out?
The name can't be officially removed from the ballot.
I understand that part, but I'm just wondering, has one of the candidates dropped?
She wrote an email asking to drop.
Oh, thank you.
Use that word. Dropped out.
Okay.
Eliminated themselves?
I'd say
Done
actively
away
not
with?
campaigning.
I don't know.
Actively not
Okay.
campaigning is.
All right.
Yeah.
Prefers not to run anymore.
Okay, I stand corrected.
No, no need.
It's.
So technicality on the language, but
We'll move on to the treasurer's report, which is available in Board Docs Library. Linda, please.
Yes, I'm looking at the public side of this agenda, and there's no link to the treasurer's report. Does the public have access to these reports? They should have access, correct?
they should. I've
I
never
don't see
been
no
in on
link
the
on the
public
agenda.
side, so I have no idea.
I'm sorry, what?
I've never been in on the public side. They should have access to it. I've just never been in on the public side, so I don't know.
I don't
Question.
see here, I'm on the public side, I'm telling you, we don't have access to the treasurer's report, so somebody needs to fix that?
So you don't have access to the Board Docs Library, like you've never had access to it?
No, she's as a public person,
As a public person, I should have
Oh.
access. Do I have access to the library as a public person?
I don't know anything about Board Docs other than what I can put in and out, so that's a question we can take back to try to figure out.
So
Yeah.
is the helpful feedback to make sure that the link to the treasurer's report is included in every agenda?
Yeah, we can just add it.
Well, it should be added, should be there. Question on the, I didn't go into the other link, but I know you mentioned that that health insurance, you were projecting to overspend. And what is the current, what's it looking like now?
Yeah, well, I'm working on it actually as we're sitting here, because I'm taking a look at it. It's actually pretty exciting. We've had a really good January and February, and so we are operating at 93.7% today, cumulative for the year, so hopefully that will stay. If that does, we'd still be looking at about a 10% healthcare increase, because healthcare is still gonna cost probably 10% more next year just to break even, so. But like really good at this point in time versus where we were a couple of months ago, because through December, we were operating at roughly 119%, so. We've had two very low months, in the 60s.
Are you projecting to overspend the budget?
In total?
Yes.
No.
Which is different than earlier, so things have.
Well, we were projecting to severely run over in health, yeah. 20% of $8 million is $1.6 million.
So at this time, you were not projecting to overspend?
Correct.
Thank you.
All right, future agenda items. Southwood Glen Elementary School presentation, technology report, action, 2026-27 Board of Education meeting dates, Adaptive Sports League, action, health insurance, CISA 1 contract, approval of administrator contracts, 26-27 employee handbook, Franklin Forward update number 7, ceremonial oath of office for newly elected board members, board officer election swearing in, district administrator self-evaluation of goals. And I'm looking for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved. Second.
Motion was made by Mrs. Sapersky, seconded by Mrs. Witkowski. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.